Welcome back to the channel. Crash here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome. Welcome. Thank you for coming by. And I'm sure that you, like me, most of you, just put that up front, are not experts at sharpening knives. I admit I have few flaws. One of my flaws is that I'm not the best. Not the best at knife sharpening. It is definitely a skill to be acquired and honed, and I've done okay. I've done okay with the tools I've been given / purchased up to now, namely this Lansky sharpening system. This system, I have no idea how old it is. I think I've seen this model going back at least 30 years. I could be wrong on that, maybe more. It's been around that long. Obviously for a reason, because it can be effective. It can be. And testament to that, as you will see on my Fox Knives FX 605. This is a Vox core in B-cut steel, made in Italy. I attempted to reprofile the edge to something a little less steep, and the results using the Lansky system, which I initially got with the coarse, medium, and fine stones as a kit. Not an expensive kit. I got it at Walmart years and years ago. This is the first knife I've successfully sharpened with this system. This right here. With the addition of the extra coarse diamond stone, this is the result. So, pretty good. Nice and spicy. Looking great. So, testament to the Lansky, this knife will shave paper and pop hair sharp, right? One caveat is the amount of time and fucking effort it took to get this knife to be that sharp. If it wasn't for this diamond stone that I had purchased after starting to sharpen it and trying to reprofile that edge, it would never, I would fucking given up. And this is a 120 grit. Keep in mind that number for a little later. 120 grit, fairly coarse. Could not shave enough material off this blade to reprofile the edge to 20 degrees like I wanted. Also, this system, with its 17, 20, 25, and 30 degree and blade pinching mechanism, clunky to use, it's a pain in the ass to get the blade in there just right at a consistent depth, unless you jam it up against the fucking bolt there, and then you might not have enough angle, or you could change the angle as you come in and out right from there. So if you This won't even fit in here. Blade further out versus further in is going to change the angle that it sharpens at. Needless to say, it's a system that I'm sure if you have a lot of experience with, works fairly well. If you know where your blades need to be set, in here you can repeat the same angles with the system, of which in the instructions they say put these little rods in there, lay on a flat surface, and then bend them till they're flat. Doesn't seem very precise to me. You have to bend a piece of metal to match individual fucking stones if they're a little off in the manufacturing process, or if these have gotten bent in use, like you push down too hard. Like, these are fairly thin, even if they're steel rods. Like, I bent them. They bend pretty easy, and they're not really consistent. I don't even know which one goes with what stone, right? And the way it's designed. So, setting that aside, in comes the replacement. I'll just throw this all together for your benefit. If you don't know what this is, you might see some words in the bottom there. I'll just give you the benefit of the packaging. This is the Precision Adjust Knife Sharpener. Model number right there. An angle adjustable 3 abrasive kit. Knife sharpener system that delivers precision and repeatability. Courtesy of WorkSharp. As soon as I found this on the internet, I knew I had to have it. Because this is everything I've looked for in a sharpener. It's a precision. Pop that out. Consistent angle sharpener, right? Because we can pop these out and see. We have our angles, we have our intermediate angles. These are increments of 1, so we're at 20 right now, 21, 22, 23, 24, and then we get back over to 25. So from 15 to 30 degrees of angle sharpness. There's the base. This clicks into the base. You can pull this back and disassemble it for whatever reason. I don't know why you would, but you can disassemble it maybe for transportation or storage. This is the tri-abrasive. So you have your 600 grit ceramic, 320 grit. When I initially found out about this, I was a little skeptical about the 320 grit on it, only because of, remember that number before? 120 wasn't cutting it. Literally was not cutting the steel. 320 did. 320 definitely did with the diamond abrasive 320. I was able to sharpen this knife right here. This is a Honey Badger in 8CR13 MOV. And in the wonderful and quite, in some people's minds, hard to sharpen D2 steel, I have the Honey Badger with the Warncliffe. Look at the sheen on that fucking edge. Fucking lovely. Love the color of the handles. Almost everything about this knife, the jimping, Flipper tab is perfect. Deep carry pocket clip. The texture of the handle. When I initially got this knife, I was fairly disappointed in the sharpness out of box. But honestly, like, for the price, it's kind of par for the course. But now, this is that same piece of... Yeah, this thing just fucking shaves. Fucking shaves. And we can't... I mean, we could get much better than that. We could, if I spent more time, spend a little bit of time on the edge on that one. Nowhere near the amount of time that I spent on this fucking thing. So, relative sharpness, I'm gonna call them even, right? This a little bit finer due to blade thickness. They're both flat ground. Oh, this one's really not that much thicker. And they'll shave the paper about equally. Hours of time sharpening using the Lansky system. Hours. Fucking hours. Less than 30 minutes. Hours. Less than 30 minutes. And it's not a matter of like blade length. It's literally like the process. The process of using something seemingly so simple, and it's precise, it's inexpensive. Before this sharpener, which is fucking great, you had the option of a couple different consistent angle sharpening systems. One's the Ed Pro Apex, which starts around $150 with 2 stones. And then from there you go up with like different kits and like dozens of different fucking stones. This eclipses it in my mind because of its clamping system. If nothing else, if everything else was the same, and the Ed for Apex used this type of clamping system, maybe it'd be worth buying, I think. But the way this is designed with its triangular clamps here, when you back that blade up, you can take everything as thin as a Mora. Not that I'd recommend sharpening a Mora on this. We'll talk about that in a minute. But with my preferred full flat ground blades, because it's clamping on it in a triangular fashion, it's grabbing that blade and keeping it completely centered. If you can tell, that blade is centered with the heel in the sharpener, so I was able to get consistent geometry on both sides of this full flat ground blade, which is largely up to now the most difficult blades I've had to sharpen. I've used the other Work Sharp product, the fucking grinder one, the electric one, and I've killed tips on like my Spydercos, and which I don't even use it hardly for anything other than my fucking woods knives and axes because of that. So, of course, needing to sharpen knives, I broke out the Lansky and saw the fucking abhorrent shortcomings of the system and looked for something better, and thank God that Work Sharp recently came out with this product. It was out of stock for a while, and luckily I caught it right when Blade HQ got them back in stock. This is December 2020, December after Christmas, and luckily I was able to catch it right when they came back in stock, and they were already out of stock by the time I checked them next time. So set them on your wish list. set up that notification for when it comes to stock, because it's absolutely worth the $50 price tag. Absolutely worth it for the ease of use, the consistency. If you are like me and sometimes struggle with sharpening, which knowing the mechanics of it, sharpening the steel, has made it easier. But venturing into it, largely I've had other people sharpen my knives up to now. It's great. I could not recommend it enough. I really couldn't recommend it enough. Much easier to use than a whetstone to sharpen like a Mora, which you almost have to with the Moras. They're so small in this dimension that they sit so far back inside the clamp that the stone and mechanism interfere with one another. So for something like this, good practice, good sheath knife to practice whetstone work, stropping, to clean up the edge. Speaking of edges, I am working on the spine of this one. When I got it, it kind of looked like that. Yeah, they don't refine these cheap Moras, which is fine. It's fun projects. Yet another project. But other than that, I don't know what else I can say about the sharpener other than it is, for all intents and purposes, the perfect sharpener for, I would say, most people. If you have a good selection of pocket knives that you actually use and use on a regular basis and dull out, and you just want to keep them sharp and maintain the edges on them, it's once you get the initial edge on there, you should just be able to touch it up with the ceramic, or at most the 600 grit. After you first initially reprofile that edge, make sure it's even. Speaking of uneven, as broke a strike when I sharpened it, this side of the edge was about 21 degrees, so I profiled it to 20. This side of the edge, when I started on it, was around 25 degrees. Again, had everything set to 20 degrees, cut it down, and this thing's fucking sharp, dude. This thing, like the rest of them. I can't tell you how easy it was. And for someone that doesn't like to spend a lot of time sharpening, 3 hours at least, with this one. Oh, man. I can't tell y'all how much I appreciate the ingenuity and engineering of this product, and the price above all for this, and how simplistic of a package it is. I don't have to dick around changing out the abrasives because they just rotate. Simple as that. The nuances has little washers here that you can adjust to make sure you're not overrunning your blade. So fore and aft. I don't think I'm forgetting anything other than to thank y'all for watching. Thank you to my subscribers. I appreciate it. I keep on getting more. I guess I'm doing something right. More content like this. If y'all like the knives and want to see more of them, definitely leave comments below. We'll be happy to show you more of the collection. And if there's any videos that you think you'd like to see, I'm all about making videos, answering questions that I would want answered. Ask away. If it's something worth making a video about, I will happily take the time and oblige. Thank you again for watching. Crash out.